Someone recently discovered something about me and I thought I'd address it before it spreads like an STD at a YouTube convention. I have no idea if YouTubers actually sleep around, but if they do, I really need to get myself to one of these get-togethers. And I would definitely click on her subscribe button if you know what I mean. That's right, I'll get notifications that she posted a new video. Some of you may not know this, but for years now, I've always stated that I'm Canadian. When I first started YouTube, I thought, I'll tell people that I'm Canadian because there's a general consensus that Canadians are friendly and polite, and I'll use that to my advantage. Well, just the other day, someone found evidence that I was actually born in the great country of the United States of America. So, here's the truth. I was born in one of the eastern states of America, and it has one of the largest Asian populations in the United States, the Keystone State, Pennsylvania. I won't tell you the exact city where I was born because that'd be too personal. It'd be too uncomfortable, like the itch on my groin after a YouTube convention. Again, I don't know if YouTubers actually sleep around, but they do in my imagination. So I grew up in this undisclosed city for several uneventful years until one day everything went downhill. It's not as dramatic as I make it sound because it actually goes back uphill afterwards. But it was a major turning point in my life. The neighborhood I lived in was kind of sketchy, but nothing too bad or crazy happened. The only time I ever got in trouble with the police was when they found me spray painting something on the side of a building. But that's not the thing that made it all come crashing down. Again, not as dramatic as I make it sound. I was one of those kids who loved school. Basically, I loved being there so much that I would stay after school just to hang out. On one particular day, my friends decided that we should play basketball on the court by the school. I resisted the idea at first because I wasn't too good at it. The only thing I knew how to dribble was drool out of my mouth. But I eventually gave in, but I guess gave in is the wrong wording here because once I had the ball in my hands, I decided to goof off instead of actually playing. I rolled the ball down my shoulders, put it behind my back, silly stuff like that, and then I took an awesome hook shot. Which wasn't actually awesome at all. In fact, it was a terrible idea. The ball missed the net and flew towards a group of guys who we didn't know. Needless to say, we were involved in a little scuffle and I got my ass handed to me. I limped home like a young Forrest Gump, and of course my mother found out about this kerfuffle and overreacted like a madwoman. She told me how sketchy our neighborhood was to begin with and that this recent unnecessary violence was the tipping point. She ended up making plans for me to move in with my relatives on the West Coast because she wanted me to get as far away as possible from my, quote, troubled past. And of course, she had to move me to the state with the highest Asian population in the US, the Golden State, California. So after arrangements were made, I got on a plane and flew to California. I still remember the day I landed like it was yesterday. Not because it was this life-changing moment in time for me, no. The memory of that day is ingrained in my mind because of the stench of a taxi I took at the airport. Since I am from Pennsylvania, I was used to the constant stink from a neighboring state, but this taxi had a stench of something I'd never smelled before. There weren't any other taxis around, and it was getting late, so I had to stick with this gross taxi. From the airport to my relatives, I pretty much held my breath the entire way there. When we finally pulled up to the house, I realized that it wasn't just a house, it was a huge mansion. I looked at my kingdom, I was finally there, to sit on my throne as the Prince of Bel-Air.